Hey, this is Frank Yosa, CEO of Ketone, and today I want to go over a paper that just came out that says no benefit of ingestion of a ketone monoester supplement on 10K running performance. And so the title looks really not great, but you really need to look inside the papers to really determine, what you think about the results, and to also look at, what protocol they use, because the protocol absolutely matters. We had one guy who great in practice, and then he went to game day, and it was absolutely horrible. And he had changed the protocol, and he just said it was absolutely very, very bad race. He then decided to actually work out on the ester and then not use it for his next performance. And he had a great run that time. So what I want to do is kind of compare some of the details. Here's one. This is the paper. This is the performance. This is comparing the group that had the sugar and ketones versus a group that had the placebo and ketones. I mean, placebo and sugar. This is a typo here where it says, PLA plus DME. And what you'll see here is, here's the average result versus the average drop in speed, meaning faster. So the average person was 20 seconds faster, and this was a 2,400 second race is what they said it was. So the average person went 20 seconds faster. So, that's not really consistent with benefit, but they still consider that no benefit because this area is the statistical range of where they would show benefit. So this is about 1% benefit is what they showed. But if you look a little bit more carefully, you'll find 5 subjects out of the 8. There are 8 subjects. 5 subjects were either 5 subjects were faster, either 20 seconds faster, which is the average, all the way up to over 2 minutes faster, which is 2 laps faster in a 10K race. So tell that guy that there was no benefit of ingestion. So what we have then is 5 that were faster. Only 3 of them were outside of what they consider the normal range of what one might have on 2 different performances. But then we had 3 people that performed less and one outlier out here. I'd really like to know more about that outlier, whether they went out too fast, because some people will do that with the ketone esters. They'll go out too fast and run out. I'd like to have more details on that as opposed to just putting dots on an ink blot. The other thing, I'd wanted to do a video previously of criticizing a couple of the papers that showed that the ketone ester was effective. And people said, well, why would you do that? And I said, well, because I want them to show that the details in the paper matter, not just the headlines. And they'll be more inclined to trust me and believe me if I have done a video talking about the downsides of the good papers, because one day there will be a paper that is not flattering. I never got around to doing that, so now I'll just compare some of the things with this new paper. So this one chart is, I guess scientists will say, oh, that doesn't matter, that's not scientifically, that shows no benefit, but I don't know, it seems pretty beneficial to me. So here are 2. This is the Cox paper up here. This is the most well-known paper on athletic performance that showed a 2% performance gain. And then these charts are from the most recent Evans paper. So another huge difference. So these papers, oftentimes they want to just make one significant change, whether it's going from a bicycle to running or going from endurance to sprinting. And they try and keep all the other variables the same amount of consumption of the ketones, same amount of glucose, same mix of glucose. They try to keep everything the same, and they make just incremental small changes. One huge flaw with this paper is that they were fed. And the Cox paper, they were fasted. Huge difference. 8 to 12 hours fasted versus having eaten. Let's say it's not in this chart. I don't have it here. They ate 120 minutes before the workout started. Now, technically, it's 3 hours before the time trial, but 2 hours before they gave the ketone ester is when the meal it's not clear whether the meal started or whether the meal ended, which would matter because if it ended in 30 minutes, you'd only be having 90 minutes before, and all the protocols, at least on our site, you know, require a fasted state. So yeah, if you do something that is not consistent with what works, yeah, you're going to show, not the ideal performance. So they did a fasted state, which drastically lowers the blood ketone level. And you can see that here. So this is the Cox paper that showed that these athletes were hitting 2.5 millimolar blood ketones. And then down here is this graph up here is uh, the ketone numbers, and they were hitting one with a peak at 1.3. So I drew out the line here in red to show you what it would look like. So it is about half of the ketone rise. So that matters significantly. There's tons of papers where the ketone salts couldn't break 1.0, and there was no increase in performance because you need to have them higher than that. And that food is what I think drastically slows down the absorption and the ability to raise the ketones. By the way, this chart right here is the number of athletes that performed better versus worse. And they had, in the Cox paper, they had one athlete, only one athlete perform worse, whereas this one, there were 3 athletes that performed worse. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, this is a little bit misleading, this chart. I've always found this one funny. They don't have that little indicator here that says that this is skewed. You could make this graph. This graph is trying to show how much further athletes went with the ketone ester, and it shows like a big gap. But this is just a function of the scale. I mean, you can make that scale. You could have made it so that the white bar was tiny and the black bar was huge. I mean, this is just not to scale. That's one flaw of one of these papers. But yeah, so the protocol matters, and also the details matter when you go into the actual paper to see the results. There's probably several other things that I'll be able to find, and maybe I'll be able to update this. But I just wanted to see what you guys thought, see if you thought that it was no benefit, and if you'd like to be the person that performed, this is 2 laps faster in their performance on a 10K. All right, thanks.